You're watching Road and Tracked, formerly New Car Spin. I'm your host, Brian, and this is my Land Rover discovery. It seems like all the YouTubers slash automotive journalists these days are buying Land Rovers, and it's no secret why, actually. It's because we need some content. Actually, I didn't just buy this. I actually bought this a year ago. It's actually been a year and 4 days. I bought it on March 1st last year, and I bought this from CarMax in Fort Worth, and I did so without a warranty because that's how I roll. I figured I'm going to give this thing a shot and see how it performs and behaves, and I gotta tell you, I love this thing. Some people don't like the look of it. I think it looks great. Obviously it kind of looks like a Ford Explorer, but beyond that C-pillar right there, the rest of it looks great because the awkward license plate placement, everything about it just makes it seem like it doesn't fit in, and that's the best part, it doesn't. So let me just show you some of the things that I've had go wrong with it. Actually, this is actually something that occurred before I bought it. So I actually saw this online on the CarMax website, and I just flat out bought it. And when I picked it up the next day, I noticed that this piece was missing, so it was just the bolt. So these shrouds were off on the back here, and this panel here wasn't firm. It was flopping around, okay? And then the other thing was over here on the passenger side. This A-pillar trim here was actually a little loose. It was like the clips were failed, and I think it's because whoever owned this before had a dash cam, and that cable was running through here, and when they took it out they broke the clip. And the other thing was they had their lockbox here at CarMax, and this trim was deformed, but luckily after about 48 hours in the Texas sun, that came back to normal. So when I actually took delivery of this, I said, hey, can you address those things? And CarMax said, yeah, we'll do that. Here are your keys, sign here, blah, blah, blah. And so I drove off. The very next day, CarMax calls me and they go, hey, we got your little thing here, but we don't have these parts, and we don't have the ability to do that kind of work here. So go ahead and go to the Land Rover dealer and we'll pay for it. So I was like, okay. So I took this to the Land Rover dealer, and they proceeded to put on the parts and, put the trim back on, and it was a $900 tab that CarMax picked up. And I know that CarMax gave like a 30-day window to return the vehicle if I didn't like it, and they also gave me a 4-month warranty in case anything went wrong. So that's how I started with my ownership experience of this Land Rover. And as you can tell, it looks great. Who's that guy? James and that other dude on Throttle House. They just bought a Discovery 4. And theirs is also like this one. This is the Hsse Lux. So I actually have the vented seats in the back. I got these upgraded headrests. Like, this thing was pretty much like loaded, and I didn't get it for the towing package or the locking rear diff because it doesn't have that. I got it because I wanted the massage and cooled seats, and it happened to have cooled seats in the front and the rear. And the Lux also includes the automatic folding of all the seats, and the Lux also has the, forget what it is. Anyway, it's, the heated seats in the third row, and then all this stuff down here to control folding and blah blah blah, and the air suspension, and this little piece here that folds down for your tailgating. So this opens with the key, but it doesn't open if you hit the button. It's kind of weird. That's just how they designed it. Anyway, 1 year of ownership. I still have the original tires. By the way, when I bought it, CarMax put on these brand new Pirelli P0s, and these are actually What's shocking here is they're actually 285, 40, 22. These tires, when they put them on last year, were about $3,200 out the door. So to get one of these, sticker price was $38, and it came with those tires, and it came in this shape. I've actually beat it up a little bit. I'll show you. That was one hell of a deal, and I almost bought CarMax stock because of that, and I should have, because it was like 55 bucks a share. Now it's like 75, 85 a share. So they're definitely doing something right, and I definitely think that Land Rover is doing something right with this Discovery. So we'll go around it real quick. You can see it's got some like holographic stuff. It's because I just go to the car wash and I get the scratch and shine on there. I did get some forced pinstriping on here. You can see right there, maybe, yep, all the way down. And that's because I hit like a bamboo thing on the road. I just couldn't move over fast enough, and it went all the way across, which is fine. Forced pinstriping is okay on an off-road vehicle. This may or may not be an off-road vehicle, but I intend to off-road it, even though I haven't had the time to really do much of it yet. The only other thing that's really typical in these Land Rovers is this worn out badge, which I think is actually kind of cool. I'm going to keep that on there. And then in the front, you'll see like I got some water spots and the discolored badging, which is happening a lot on these Discoveries, especially here in Texas with the sun. And also here, this is happening as well, and that's really disappointing. So, you know, that's just a Land Rover thing. It's not really just specifically anything other than that. Cosmetically, yeah, it's got those things going on with it. And then someone hit me right here in the parking lot. Not this parking lot, but some parking lots. Someone hit my mirror. So as far as problems, yeah, let's get into that. All right, now that we're alone, I can talk to you about the problems. After 1 year, I have had one check engine light, and that was actually recently. That was in January. The check engine light appeared. I ran the code, and it said lean bank 1, and I was like, oh, let me look that code up. And of course the code said loose gas cap. And I realized, oh, that's right. When I was at the gas station, I was tightening it with my left hand, because I'm a right-handed person. I just basically go, I tighten the cap with my left hand, and I put the gas nozzle back on the pump with my right hand, and I knew something was a little off, but I didn't care, and I shut the door. And that was the only problem I've ever had. So it wasn't even a problem. It was just user error. Other than that, nothing so far has gone wrong. I have been enjoying this thing. I've been living in it basically for the last year. I bought it with 55,000 miles, and I have 71, which is impressive because those tires are the ones that came with the car. So 55,000 to 71, what is that? Almost 16,000 miles, somewhere around there. And they're gonna have to be replaced in about a month. I'm not going to kid myself on that. I definitely don't want to take chances with bald tires in the summer or even in the rain. I don't really care for these tires. They're very grippy, and in the winter, they're not very confidence inspiring. So there are other tires out there that pretty much they're all the same size when you get to 22s. Now let's talk about this engine. I wanted to discuss why I went with this vehicle. So first off, you can't really see much online about reliability of, in particular, the Discovery. And that's because no one really says much. So basically this is the AJ126 supercharged V6 engine that they use in some of the Range Rovers. The V6 Range Rovers is this engine. The older ones up to like 2019, I think it was 2020, and then obviously it's the only engine used in the Discovery, and then it's used in the E-Type and the F-Type the F-Pace, the XJ V6, and so on and so forth. So what I noticed is actually you can upgrade the pulley on the supercharger and the crank pulley, and you can get this from 340 horsepower stock to about 415 plus, and that's without mapping. You just change the pulleys, instant power. I like it. It's got good power now, so maybe when I pay this thing off, I'll start tinkering around with it. So as far as this engine, it's actually a V8 block, but they didn't put cylinders in the last two. They didn't put pistons in the last two cylinders, and the only issue that you need to be aware of is up until 2016 with this V6 engine, they've had timing chain issues. The guides and stuff would fail, and the chains weren't that big, so they made some adjustments in 2016. And as far as 2018 models, 2017, which is the first year of this Discovery, you are on solid ground. One thing I've noticed is if you get a coolant flush, make sure you use the proper coolant, because the wrong coolant will gum up in the block and you will overheat, which is ironic, isn't it? Change the coolant to overheat, but use the right coolant. I would say if you don't smell coolant, like leaking out of a pinhole in your hoses or anything, and if the coolant level's fine, I would not touch it. And of course, we got wind today and leaves everywhere. It's driving me nuts. I'm gonna close this. So, looks-wise, I love it. It's very similar to the blue of the LR4 that they have on straight pipes, or is it Throttle House? I can't tell. This one is actually Lawyer Blue. I actually had a press vehicle that was a diesel version of this car, and it was the same color, but the interior I think was a tan. This color I love, and pretty much that's it. So 1 year of ownership, 0 dealership visits, other than the very first time I bought it. The oil change I've done at an independent place, and you could definitely do it yourself on this vehicle. And then the only other thing I've done was replace the air filters. So I'm gonna have separate videos about this vehicle later, but 1 year of ownership finally, and 0 issues, not a single claim to be made if I had a warranty, but I don't have a warranty, so I just saved $6,000 right there. And that's it. My Land Rover experience has been great, and hopefully I'll be off-roading it soon. I'll get you some videos on that. I'm gonna change out these tires as they wear down, and there we are. Pretty basic. And I wish all those other Land Rover owners, especially those YouTubers, good luck with their purchase, and we'll see if they fare better than this. All right, thanks for watching. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Ask me questions if you have any. I don't want to go over all the features here. I just want to tell you that's my Land Rover experience. It was a gamble. I took the risk, and I think it pays off, and I'm so glad I did. Obviously this has the full air suspension, so it'll raise up, it'll lower, it does all this auto leveling when it's parked. I thought maybe there was an issue with suspension, but nope, it's solid. And what I really want to do is get the thing called the gap tool, which is like a $700 thing where you could do like your own diagnostics on the car, or like specific diagnostics, like millimeter adjustment on the suspension and stuff like that. But I haven't really been bothered because it's just been so reliable. I think yeah, highly underrated vehicle this is. So there you go, my Land Rover Discovery, 1 year ownership experience. Pretty boring, huh? I wish I had more for you, but that's all I got. I actually have nothing else. And the funny thing is I have this, and I have a 25-year-old BMW in my garage, and I got nothing to report to you guys, so thank God. All right, see you later.